National Assembly passes the 7.4 trillion naira 2017 budget, christened Budget of Recovery and Growth, just as an economic expert looks at the prospects of the budget. Plus, federal government aggressive economic drive with the launch of the pilot edition at Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Clinic in Katsina State. These and much more on today's Panorama with me, Joseph Johnson. Hello and welcome. The Senate has passed the 7.4 trillion naira 2017 budget. National Assembly correspondent Waziri Zayani reports that the budget, which is aimed at bringing the economy out of recession, is christened Budget of Recovery and Growth.
Aggregate sum of the budget is 7.4 trillion naira. This is made up of 419.2 billion naira earmarked for statutory transfers, 177.4 billion naira for debt services, 2.9 trillion for recurrent expenditure, and 2.5 trillion earmarked for capital expenditure. While presenting a report of the Committee on Appropriation on the 2017 bill, Senator Muhammad Anjumagoja said the budget estimate is predicated on the revenue assumption of an oil price benchmark of $42.50 US per barrel, crude oil production rate of 2.2 million barrels per day, and an exchange rate of 305 naira to the dollar. While considering the budget, some senators reiterated their resolve to ensure implementation of the 2017 budget through proper oversight functions.
The next phase of what we are supposed to do is to ensure that we oversight very closely on the performances of all the ministries and departments and agencies of government to ensure that what is in this document is what is implemented.
I want us to go and plead with the executive that when they are implementing this budget, they should make sure that every part of this country is captured.
Senate President Bukola Saraki hoped that the budget reflects equity and ensured efficiency by providing adequate resources to all relevant sectors.
This is a great achievement on the part of us, and I commend you all. Another first we've achieved is making the budget of the National Assembly available to the public, which has been an issue for a long time. I'm very proud of what you've all been able to achieve.
Outside plenary, the Senate Committee on Independent Electoral Commission, INEC, has commenced screening of 27 resident electoral commissioners.
By now, the first assignment that you should be willing to carry is to ensure that you sit down and discuss extensively, especially with regards to the 2017 budget of NSIT, which is of great importance to this committee.
19 of the names are for new appointments, while 8 are for reappointments. From the National Assembly, Waziri Zayan, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the House of Representatives has also passed the 2017 budget of 7.4 trillion naira with over 100 billion naira increment over the 7.2 trillion proposed by President Muhammadu Buhari. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Nkwo reports that Clause 11 of the appropriation bill provides that the budget runs for 12 months from the date it is assented to by the President in line with the provisions of the Constitution.
After 2 bills were stepped down, the House dissolved into Committee of Supply to consider the 2017 budget report from its Committee on Appropriation.
Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, wow, 103 billion, 793 million, 201,010 naira carried. I hope this leads to true diversification that we seek for. Ministry of Defense, 139 billion, 294 million, 920,350 naira carried. Secretary to the Government of the Federation, SGF, 51 billion, 933 million, 366,906 naira carried. Just like the National Assembly is an institution, the office of the SGF too is an institution comprising so many agencies. So this one is not just for SGF as one office.
After the clause-by-clause consideration, the money bill was read for the 3rd time and passed.
The question, honorable colleagues, the bill be read the third time. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it.
And in line with its oversight functions, the House resolved to investigate the alleged non-remittance of 61.5 billion naira by the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA, as moved by Representative Nicholas Osai from Delta State. Members stressed the need for the introduction of HIV self-test kit to help in the fight against HIV and AIDS, as moved by Representative Asabe Vilita Bashir from Borno State. The House implored the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, to provide relief materials to victims of rainstorm at Ihebe town in Owan East and West Federal Constituency of Edo State, moved by the Deputy Majority Whip, Pali Iriase. The Chairman House Committee on Media and Public Affairs, Representative Abdulrazak Namdas, later briefed National Assembly correspondents on the passage of the 2017 budget.
But the crude oil production remained at 2.2 million per barrel, and the exchange rate still remained, it was approved still at 305 against $1 US.
The appropriations committees of the Senate and House of Representatives presented their harmonized reports of the budget to their respective houses for consideration on Tuesday. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTN News.
Now, to talk more on the 2017 budget, I have with me in the studio Dr. Uche Waleke, Associate Professor of Finance, Nasarawa State University. You're welcome to Panorama.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Now, let's start off this way. The National Assembly has increased their budget from 7.2 to 7.4 trillion naira. Now, what is the implication of this?
Yeah, thanks very much. Of course, you know, the National Assembly has the right to, in the course of interrogating the budget proposals, amend the budget. So in its wisdom, it has increased the budget size by about 143 billion. So that means the aggregate expenditure has now increased. But again, that was also possible because they tinkered with the crude oil benchmark from $42.5 per barrel to $44.5 per barrel. Even though I would have wished that they had used the lower benchmark, because when you're doing a budget, conservatism is the principle in view of the fact that one, we are relying so much on oil, and number two, the volatility in crude oil prices. So the thing is increased, but you also find out that much of that increase has come in by way of statutory transfers. We've seen some increase going to the amnesty program, some money to maybe some capital projects, but we have a substantial sum to going for statutory transfers, and that's where you have the National Assembly. The National Assembly increased its own allocation from 115 billion, to 125 billion. And the bulk of that is consumption expenditure, is recurrent. Over 86 billion is for overheads alone. I'm talking about the National Assembly budget. But of course, it's good that for the first time we are getting, details of this, some of these figures to be able to at least talk to them. So I would have wished that if we are increasing at all, we should be looking at critical areas where we should put this money, especially into capital projects that will drive growth and not just in mere consumption.
Yeah, talking about the monies now, an average, a fundamental question an average Nigerian would want to ask is, as the figures are rolled out, how does this affect me? So, what would you say?
Yes, of course, for us to have the impact, it speaks to the implementation of the budget. To what extent will this, especially the capital components, will be implemented? We have not usually had problems with the recurrent side. Over time, you find recurrent expenditure, achieving more than 95% level of implementation. But when it comes to capital, the one that really drives growth, the one that really impacts, you find that leaves much to be desired. For example, if in 2016 we have been told, which is even the best, in recent time, that's out of 1.75 trillion voted for capital expenditure in 2016. The government was able to release, cash back 1.2 trillion. That's about 70%, level. So that tells you that what is important is capital. But again, beyond even the cash releases, beyond the cash backing, is the issue of value for money. you know, value for money. When we say value for money audit, we are talking about issues of economy, issues of efficiency, issues of effectiveness. If you say you want, if you voted so and so amount, you know, for a road project, let me even take the case of power, for example. Out of the 1.2 trillion released for power, released for capital, over 300 billion went to power works and housing. About 25%. That's the figure we have. So the question is, do we have an improvement in this in that sector over that of the previous year? So that is the way we should be looking at, you know, value for money. If you're spending, you should be concerned with you know, what that money,
okay,
you know, is able to achieve.
Invariably, you're saying Nigerians will have value for their money.
If the implementation is right.
Yes. We were going to come to that. The budget has been christened Budget of Recovery and Growth.
Yes.
How do you think this is going to be realized?
We're still saying something. Implementation. Now we are done with the formulation stage. Once the president assents, you know, to this appropriation bill, we are through with the formulation and approval. So we are now going to a very crucial stage, and that stage is implementation. As we speak now, yet have even the third quarter budget implementation report. If you go to the website of the budget office, you have the first quarter, you have the second quarter. We don't even have the third quarter, and the year has run to an end. I'm talking about the fiscal year that started in May, you know, last year up to May 5th. So the budget cycle for 2016 is over. So we're expecting that at least we should have the third quarter implementation report. So it boils down to implementation, and that's why all the agencies, all the people, you know, involved in implementation should be this is the time to galvanize them. And I'm also aware that the government has is planning to set up a delivery unit, the presidency, together with a task force that will drive the economic recovery and growth plan. This budget is an integral part of that economic recovery and growth plan. And to that extent, I expect the task force, you know, outside the conventional, the traditional budget implementation structures, I expect the task force, you know, to be on top of it to ensure that we achieve
that's effective.
Yes, effective implementation of the budget. That is key.
Yes,
if this this budget of 7.441 trillion
must be real.
Yes, you know, will have an impact on the citizens.
Okay. Well, thank you very much indeed for coming on the program, Panorama.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, I've been speaking with Dr. Uche Uwaleke, Associate Professor of Finance, Nasarawa State University. Okay, let's bring you other news. The acting president, Yemi Osinbajo, says micro, small and medium enterprises are strategic to the implementation of the federal government's policy on diversification. He said that these are the launch of the pilot edition of the MSME clinic in Katsina. Lawal Hamad Matazu reports.
Statistics obtained in December 2013 indicate the existence of more than 37 million small and medium-scale enterprises across the country, out of which MSMEs account for over 36.9 million, representing 99.8%. Addressing the stakeholders, the acting president, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, said the platform is an opportunity for regulators and the micro, small, medium enterprises to rub minds with a view to make their business thrive. He noted that the federal government has introduced a number of economic recovery and development initiatives in an effort to break away from a consumer to a vibrant, productive nation. Professor Osinbajo described the products displayed by the SMEs in Katsina State as a model to other states in the Federation, which should be harnessed to transform the economic fortunes.
The President said in that budget speech, he said that our central vision, the central vision of our government, is to grow everything that we eat and to make the things that we use.
The Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Aisha Wakar, said the Smearing Clinic will serve as a framework towards the establishment of a one-stop shop for MSMEs to enable them contribute towards government economic diversification drive. Katsina State Governor Aminu Bello Masari stated that the scheme will prepare ground for the resuscitation of moribund industries, reduce poverty, and address social problems in the society. The Director General Smearing, Dikko Umar Radda, lauded the federal government for giving the country a new economic direction. In Katsina, Lawal Ahmed Matazu, NTA News.
The federal government has assured Nigerians that it will create an enabling environment for the 15 million job creation target by 2020. The Minister of Budget and National Planning, Udoma Udoma, gave the assurance while receiving members of the National Institute of Policy and Strategic Study, NIPS, in Abuja. Details with Leah Katun Babatunde.
The rising number of unemployed and underemployed persons has brought to the fore the need to develop a technological, knowledge-based economy, giving priority to value addition and quality. The Economy Recovery and Growth Plan, ERGP, seeks to do just that, and the Minister of Budget and National Planning, Udoma Udoma, affirms that government will support institutions that emphasize science, technology, engineering, and mathematics to reduce unemployment rate from 13.9% in Q3 2016 to 11.23% by the year 2020.
Particularly in IT, which excites the youth and which we believe that they can do very well in. We want to expand the skills and also the internet access in agriculture, in manufacturing.
But for the visiting team, this could not have come at a better time, as the knowledge-sharing process will enhance the translation of the ERGP into positive use in their various institutions and organizations.
Local content is very, very important. Consumer made in Nigeria is very, very important, most especially if we must address quickly the issue of unemployment in our system.
The Policy, Strategy and Leadership Course 25 is cross-fertilizing ideas with the Ministry of Budget and National Planning to bring out practicable ways of returning the economy to meaningful growth part. In Abuja, I'm Lekatung Babatunde, NTA News.
Now, let's remind you that you can watch this news live online via the NTA mobile app, which you can download on your Android device at the Google Play Store or at the Apple Store. That's if you use devices with iOS. Time to pause for some messages. Panorama continues after this timeout. Stay with us.
The struggle for independence had been a long and tough one. Our founding fathers and compatriots sacrificed their comfort and even shed their blood. We cannot at this point in history afford to spirit away their sacrifices for immediate but temporary gains of today. Let us emphasize what unites and not what divides us. Working for the unity of purpose with a stronger vision for a better tomorrow. NTA, growing with the nation.
Together, no matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are one. Let's live together. Let's stop fighting each other. Let us live as one. It doesn't matter where you come from, your tribe or religion, man, woman or child. It doesn't matter who you are. Put Nigeria first. No matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are one. Let's live together.
How can we develop when we're always in crisis? Families have become refugees in their country. No matter our differences, show some understanding.
No matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are one. Let's live together.
Nigeria, the only country we can train with remarkable potentials to excel. Let us believe in ourselves and change our attitude for the sake of our country and generations unborn. Let us revive our cultural values, which are our essence as a nation. Let us renew the spirit of patriotism and hope in our dear country. Do not take or give bribe. Be punctual always. No more African time. We can't expect to be global citizens and operate on African time. Join the queue. Insist that people are attended to on a first-come basis, no matter who they are or where they come from.
Nigeria, good people, great nation.
You're welcome back to Panorama on the network service of the NTA with me, Joseph Johnson. Let's talk security now. Nigerians must see the nation's security challenges as the problem of all, as that will engender the required cooperation to curb the menace. This was the position of Acting President Yemi Osinbajo in a message to the 2017 National Security Summit in Abuja. Victor Azu examines the issues and possible solutions emanating from the national discourse.
With the lingering farmers and herdsmen clashes across the country reportedly claiming nearly 2,000 lives in 2016 alone, it is not surprising that the 2017 National Security Summit focuses on forging partnerships to stem the tide of such conflicts. Acting President Yemi Osinbajo, who was represented by the Minister of Interior, Abdulrahman Dambazao, reassured Nigerians that security of lives and property remains a priority for the Buhari administration.
May I use this opportunity to call on the organized private sector to intensify their efforts in complementing government further by more investment in the security sector.
Setting the tone for discussions, the Inspector General of Police, Ibrahim Idris, indicated that not only greater funding is required, but reforms are also needed to make the Nigerian police more potent in tackling insecurity.
The issue of police funding has been critical to all past police reform panels. However, the issue of funding, as alleged in those police reform initiatives, is yet to be critically addressed.
Achieving reforms will, however, need constitutional amendments or outright new laws. Senate Committee Chairman on Police Affairs, Abu Ibrahim, hinted that the Senate is already working on the enabling legislations for the police to function better. This is just as the worst-hit Benue State has put a new law in place that prohibits open grazing in favor of ranching.
Police Trust Fund, which will be read, I believe, second time next week.
Recognizing the need to tackle the root cause of the security challenges instead of the symptoms, royal fathers led by the chairman, National Council of Traditional Rulers, Oba Adeyeye Ogunwusi, the Ooni of Ife, suggested that particular focus should be given to the principles of equity, justice, and fairness as a way of discouraging crimes and criminality.
We should ask ourselves this question: why are people grieved? Why are they frustrated? When an issue affects your brother of ethnic stock or religious background, you turn your face away.
With the summit not in shortfall of workable theories, what seems to be needed is the political will to implement the recommendations. In Abuja, Victor Azu, NTA News.
Peace and harmonious coexistence among Nigerians to enhance national development. Now, this was the subject of discussion at the Nigerian Consultative Conference on International Dialogue on Peace Building, State Building and its New Deal for Engagement in Conflict-Affected States. Omenka Amarachuku completes the report.
1.5 billion of the world's poorest lives in countries, including Nigeria, grappling with conflicts. Managing them for resolution needs all hands on deck. Granted that it comprises human capital development, business and overall sustainable growth. Recognizing the urgency of the challenge is the utmost concern of this consultative conference. They talked about the importance of tackling the root causes of conflicts and work on resilience.
We have to have peace around us. We have to avoid conflicts between us and make sure that there's sustainable peace within our country.
The priority we should have is to plunge into this issue of peacemaking, conflict resolution.
This is an opportunity for us with the international community that has come here to reaffirm their support for the IDPS document. We are asking Nigerians to buy into this, both state and non-state actors.
The theme of the conference is implementing the IDP's principles and instrument for sustainable peace in Nigeria. In Abuja, Omenka Amarachuku, NTA News.
Let's bring you sports news. Nigeria Nationwide League One moves to boost television broadcast.